So this tool was developed in a program called Notion. You do have to sign up in order to use the tool, but it's free. You can sign up via email, Google sign in, or Facebook sign in. I believe those are all options for you. It's a really awesome software. I highly recommend it, and you need it in order to use this tool. So as far as the walkthrough goes, I've got this section where you can just go through the text of what this tool does. If you want to look at that at a later time and reference that. This reserved for video, this will just be where I embed this video that you're watching. And then you get into the meat of what we're doing here. So this is the career fulfillment matrix. This is where you're going to capture the majority of your job activities that you do on a day-to-day basis, a monthly basis, an annual basis, so that we can do an assessment of all of these and really get a feel for how these are going for you, where you are with these activities, and if you need to make changes. In general, when I'm working with people, I say capture 80% of your activities. We don't want to get into all the little details, all the little things that you do on a daily basis. We really want to do the things that are going to move the needle. And so that's what we're shooting for here. How you do that? Okay, you click this plus new button, and then you enter in the name of the activity. I'm going to call this test number 1. And then you're going to assess this activity on 3 different criteria. One is resonance. So this will measure whether you like it or you don't like it. You've got competence. Are you good at it or are you not good at it? And then time commitment. So is this something that takes a lot of your time, an average amount of your time, or a small amount of your time? And so you want to do all 3 of these for every single one of the scenarios, okay? So for test number 1, we're going to say it's something we like. For competence, I'm actually going to leave this blank for now, and I'll explain that in a moment. And I'm going to say low because we don't have any other low time commitment activities here. So that's it. You capture 80% of your activities. This can be in as much detail as you want to put in it. I'm pretty high level on this. But if you want to be more detailed, that's fine. It can capture a bunch of activities. And once you're done with that, you just have to click review your results and we'll move forward. All right, so now we're on the zone assessment page. There's a section up here that kind of summarizes what we're doing. So in general, like based off the activities you input and then the criteria for residence, competence, and time commitment, it's funneling all of those activities into the right sector or the right zone, as we call it. So what are the zones? Okay, well, you've got the sweet spot zone. So you got your jar of honey here. These are things that you like and that you're good at. So these are the best of the best, like the things you wish you could spend all your time doing or most of your time doing. On the other hand, you have the growth zone. So these are things that you do enjoy doing. You're just not good at them yet. And I emphasize yet because it is something that you desire to get into that sweet spot zone. It's just not there yet. A default zone are things that you are good at, but you don't enjoy doing them. And then the failure zone is where you don't like it and you're not good at it. So those are the 4 zones. I've got more instructions here. Like if you want to go back and read through some of the things that we're talking about here, you can do that in this section. And then I've also got, this toggles you back to the original input page. If you need to add more items or if you left out some information like we did here. And that's where we get into the different sectors or the different zones, okay? So I've got it all arranged but into 3 different sectors, which is the high commitment, the medium commitment, and the low commitment areas. We'll focus most of our time on high and medium because this is where you're spending the majority of your time. This is where you really can move the needle. I've also got a section right at the very bottom that identifies any missing data that you have from your input table that we looked at before. So our test number 1, the one we added in this video, is coming up in that missing data section. So I can easily go back and see, yep, I left something off there. I'm going to say we are not good at that. And now if I go back, it's not there. So it's moved up into the growth zone, but it's a low commitment item, so we won't spend any time there. So things to look for. You can see our different activities starting to fill in across our different zones. You can really start to learn some things about yourself and the work that you do by doing this exercise. And that's why I love it so much. It's a great conversation starter. It can really get you brainstorming about how you can mix things up and make changes in your work environment to really have an impact. Some things I focus on. Okay, high commitment items. This is where you're spending the majority of your time, so you need to have these right. So for instance, we've got a failure zone item among high commitments. That's a problem because you're spending a lot of time doing this, you don't like it, and you're not good at it. Now, a daily team check-in, probably not something you can just ditch or delegate. For this particular item, you're going to have to think through, how can I do this differently? How can I change it up so that it gives me more energy when I do it and makes it easier for me to get through this item? Sometimes it'll be an activity where you actually can change things up. Can you delegate this to someone else? Can you just delete it? Like, are you doing it for someone else, but there's really no reason? It's not adding the value to the company that you think that it should. So can you evaluate deleting that item completely from your workload? So that's kind of a little bit on the failure zone. I also wanted to, let's see, we don't have any default zone items here. Let's see, where do we? Okay, right here. So we have performance reviews and leadership meetings that are hitting the default zone. So default zone items are where I consider there to be the biggest and most likely chance for burnout. So these are things that you're good at that you don't like. So people are going to continue to praise you for these things. They're going to continue to pile these types of things onto your plate because you're good at them, but you don't like them. And it's very easy to get stuck on these items. So if you're experiencing burnout and you see a lot of items in the default zone, you're on to something there. And once again, can you delegate it to someone? You're good at it, so could you coach someone else on how to do it and make them competent at it so that you can get that off your plate and maybe it's a better fit for their personality? So there's a lot you can do there. If the majority of your items are there, maybe it's time to look at a different job, a different part of the company that you can transition towards. So it's just a way to start that thought process and start to build those brainstorming sessions, conversations with yourself and with others to assess, like, what can you do different to make this job more enjoyable. So that's it. It's a really simple tool, but I found it to be a very effective tool when working with clients and assessing their job situation. I'd love to have your feedback on it. You can drop that in the comments section of this video. As far as actually downloading the tool, you do that through my Gumroad account. I have a link of that in the description. I do charge a few dollars for it. It's very minimal. It's really a great do-it-yourself coaching exercise. So take some time with it, evaluate if a career change or assessing your job in more detail is something that you're interested in. There's links within the tool as to how to set up an appointment with me. And I'd love to have a conversation about it.